Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Full Length Cup Challenge. This evening, we're excited to bring you the action once more after the kickoff last week with the Clash 2. This week, we have the Haterade 150s from iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, including the FLCC, the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series, and Fast Fridays. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight's Duels is Kirk Mills. Howie Burrows is working the controls as our producer. Tonight, we determine who races in the FLCC 500. 61 drivers attempted to qualify as they get ready from the World Center of Racing to try and make sure they get to be a part of that field come next Saturday, Kirk.
Everybody wants to get in it. It's the biggest race of the year, the FLCC 500. Everybody knows that this is going to be something that you never forget winning. We know last year we saw Patrick Gitter go out there and win the race with a hard-charging Matt DeCiani on his tail at the end of that one. And you're going to see it year in and year out. These guys are going to do everything they can to make the field, and it all starts tonight. They did their qualifying sessions, and now they're ready to go, lined up for our first heat.
Yes, indeed. And remember, these drivers will have 60 laps, meaning green flag pit stops that they'll have to contend with to be able to deal with throughout the night tonight. But simply, when it comes to the format, there's a lot of complicated measures, but it is put like this. You have the Tier 1 drivers in terms of how they registered as part of the series process and priority. Those drivers are locked in. That's approximately about 13 or so per duel. Then you move on, though, to who is a Tier 2 and Tier 3 driver. And there's a lot of them looking to qualify. There's about 31 drivers per each of these duels. The top 5 drivers that have a Duel 2 designation will get the chance to race. And then after that, there's a third tier. The top Tier 2 and 3 remaining drivers would then advance, meaning it's not a guarantee if you have the lowest priority in terms of series tier system to be able to make the show. Give credit to Jason and Brandon Pierce for their credit. They have a sheet that's keeping track of all the drivers tonight, and there's a lot of fast names that are actually trying to race their way in the first duel alone. You have Charles Wimby, for example. Timothy Harper just made the PGR 500 for tomorrow, a part of that. Dylan Bason's a part of the list. Joseph Galata, who just picked up a job with Skip Barber Racing School, is a part of that list. We know how fast he is. And then you have some of the Tier 3s that include some of the drivers that actually appeared in plenty of races last season, like William Owens, Dylan Kritz, Cliff Mullins, some of the names that pop up there. In our words, you better make sure you're fast, you better make sure you survive, Kirk, you better make sure you execute, because there's a lot of complicated parts, and you want to get yourself out of the complicated mess.
Yeah, you just want to make the dang race. It's so dang hard to want to actually get in there. We're going to go ahead and take a look here at it. Our starting lineup for this field, it is stacked.
Stacked is an understatement. When it comes to those drivers, they are currently just waiting for the warm-up counter to finish out for today. Keep in mind, there is one thing to note. The top open qualifier also got locked in. This duel's top qualifier was Paul Gallimore for open cars. Bobby Anderson will get to start on the front row when it comes to the FLCC 500. He qualified on the pole during the action. It will be Ralph Hutchinson in second position for duel number 1. Row number 2, Paul Gallimore and Sean O'Brien Jr., third and fourth position respectively. Then you switch to row 3. That will feature Casey Graves, Dylan Kritz. He's one of the Tier 3 drivers. He needs to be up front all race. Stephen Williams starts off in 7th. Nicholas Vroman rounds out your top 8 starting spots. Dylan Basin making an appearance tonight. He'll roll himself for the 9th spot with William Owens next to him in the top 10, Kirk.
Starting in 11th, it's Cody Porter going to try and get to the front alongside Robert Miller in that 15. He's fast. We saw it last season. We'll see how he does this year. Corey Moore coming out in the 42 car, trying to make it work. And Cameron Stone in that Coors Light 57 rolls off 14th. 15th tonight will be Sean Anderson in the 13 car. And to his outside will be Timothy Harper in the 23. Starting in 17th tonight will be last year's FLCC 500 champion Patrick Gitter, and to his outside, Neil Pearson starting 18th. 19th, Joseph Galata, one of the fastest guys out there, alongside another fast guy, Alex Coffey, starting 20th.
Then you switch over to the page to Matt DiCiani tonight. He'll start 21st. Dustin Hall, deep in the order, 22nd in a Conti car. Then it's Blake Guiter, who will start in the 23rd spot in the 14th position. Evan Mesnard in 24th. Jerry Brown starts deep in the field tonight, 25th, with Cliff Mullins in 26th tonight, one of the drivers that performed well in the clash. Then it's Nicholas Isaac's going to need to be up the front to race his way in. Charles Wembley is towards the back in 28th. And the rest of your drivers who made it in, Tanner Marty and Alan Duggar, the other two drivers, those drivers make it in on in. We did have one driver who initially was set for this duel, missed said duel. As mentioned tonight, it's going to be a 60-lapper earlier on in the conversation. These drivers don't have faster pairs. They do have 2 sets of tires if necessary, but it's quite simple, Kirk. It is a one-stopper to try and win this race.
Absolutely. Not keeping your car underneath you, making it to the end of this thing. Quick note, Sean O'Brien Jr. is starting from the pits in the 65 car. He's currently sitting on pit road. He did not make the grid, so he will be starting from the pits, coming from a long way behind. He's hoping for a lot of accidents. But here we go from Daytona to start off the first duel of the day. And we got another one coming up here in just a little bit, but let's get this one started. 30 cars ready for their shot at becoming a driver in the FLCC 500. Let's find out. Pace car dives into the pit lane. Here they go through that Geico restart zone. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Back straight away for the first time. Anderson leads the inside. The inside working a lot better, in fact, than that outside groove. Give that a second, though, as Basin just moved up to the top side. So far, we've seen in a lot of the big races throughout the week, there was an aero update that happened this week with the new package that updated the nose to the Chevys, Kirk. That's something to keep an eye on as well. Those new side flaps that are on the pillars of the car, those are supposed to be on there too. Hopefully don't have to use those tonight.
I hope so. That's for sure. Going into turns 1 and 2, these guys are just trying to get settled. You got 2 lines that have made themselves dominant already. That outside line fell back early on, but they are able to crawl back inch by inch, and I think they're making their way towards the front as Bobby Anderson and Paul Gallimore pushing each other, trying to lead that inside line to victory.
Right now, trying to be able to set the tone is what you can really say here. And it's pretty clear early on in these types of races, whoever's up at the front helps dictate how the rest of this race is going to go. And usually the trend for a dual race where you have time for a pit stop and the early going is 2x2 is pretty commonplace. Look at that, though. For whatever reason, a lot of pushback from Ralph Hutchinson as he gaps himself for the rear end of Dylan Basin.
Save gas at the back of the field. Even though he's falling back in that 19 car, I think he's realizing everybody's saving gas on the bottom line. You're not going to be able to make much momentum. You got to find the hole on the bottom and get there quick, because if you can find the hole and get in, you can definitely save a whole lot more gas. And I think he's going to find one here in just a second, unless Dylan Kritz goes down, and he sure does. Dylan takes that bottom line, and everyone is trying to evacuate out of the top line, trying to save some gas. They know it's a long race. They know they got to save every ounce of gas they can, and that way you have a chance to pit a little later if you have to. We already have one on pit road again. Sean O'Brien Jr. back on pit road again. I don't think he's going to be okay after all that.
Yeah, O'Brien Jr. obviously down there. Well, Patrick Gitter did not start this race, by the way, in his circumstance, so which we'll have to see how that fares out. I believe he'll just start at the tail as a result, as he was one of the drivers originally supposed to start decently in this field. But most of the drivers electing to play the patience game, obviously. Bobby Anderson obviously setting the pole time. That's one of the drivers that you normally, not to offend the league owner, that you wouldn't expect to be the pole sitter for the FLCC 500. But he's been looking fast, it looks like. We've seen him be pretty fast in the clash. He's been fast here.
Yeah, but he's not really in a good spot right now. He's controlling the pace of the pack. And we've seen it in the NASCAR Cup Series, where they're able to lift as much as humanly possible, leading this pack. They could slow the whole field down by 8, 9, even 10 mile an hour than what they could be going. They're trying to save gas, but he's in a position where he is the guy pushing the air out of the way. And unless somebody gets out in front of him, he's going to have way less gas than everybody else in the field behind him.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he plays this here, especially knowing there is a play, though, where you can nullify that here, Kirk. Just take the pit stop at lap 22, and then you go along to the end of the race, take the short stop then. That's pretty fast. Meanwhile, facing to the lead, you were saying.
Yeah, now that he's got somebody in front of him, that's going to help him. This outside line must have gotten bored of trying to ride around, and they want to be the ones to control the race. Here comes Roman to the outside in the most annoying paint scheme ever, but he runs it every single week, and it works. It's definitely an eyesore for the drivers, but it works for him. He's in the lead now, getting pushed by the 30-car William Owens.
Roman now up to the point for the time being with the help. Now, there was a bit of shuffling, as you can notice, with some of the cars here. We talked about some of the partnerships that popped up. Neil Pearson is now part of Black Flag Motorsports, for example. He leads the outside line. They also added a lot more in numbers, Kirk, because we talked about how you had the Ralph Hutchinson machines. Well, all of those drivers, essentially, are now working with the Black Flag Motorsports camp here tonight as part of those shuffles. All those drivers are in those same communications tonight. That was determined after how the clash went last week in terms of the team shuffle. So we'll have to keep an eye on some of those team dynamics throughout the season here. As up in front, Pearson leads the inside, but Dustin Hall already up 21 leads the outside with the help of Anderson.
Not bad, Dustin. Very hard to go from the back to the front, but when everybody's saving gas, you got a good pusher, you can do it. Absolutely. That outside line just seems to be the ones that want to really make this work, and there's only really 7 cars in that outside line right now. And so once more and more clear down to the bottom, this outside line will eventually lose its momentum because it's losing people. Nobody's hopping in the outside line, but they're all pushing harder than the inside line ever will. They're just trying to get to a position where they can take advantage of their track position. That's really what it's all about. 13 cars. Sean Anderson to the lead. Haven't heard about this guy very much all season. He wasn't around last year, but this year, trying to make a start at it, trying to make the FLCC 500. I think that's pretty cool.
Trying to get a chance to advance absolutely here. And we'll see a lot of shuffling. Duggar is one of the drivers racing to try and be in the show, is one of the tags that was popped up here, but he's been quick throughout this entire week. Keep an eye on the 10 car. Same for Anderson, one of the drivers that took part in the clash last week. It's going to establish things early on. So the two Andersons have both been fast so far. We'll see where things play out. Now, of note, Patrick Gitter did roll back on the racetrack in the Fortis camp, but he has pulled it back down, so it looks like Gitter is electing to start the tail for the FLCC 500 and keep himself out of this trouble building up front.
Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit more cars get interested in that outside line. Just one more car jumped up, and I think that was the 23 of Harper. But as this continues, remember what we were talking about in the first couple of laps. Bobby Anderson was actually leading that bottom line for the majority of the start of this thing, but now look where he is. He's jumped all the way back outside the top 20, I think, right now. There are 3 wide almost. One guy got shuffled out, the 2 car of Nicholas Isaacs. Had to jump out of the gas and get out of there.
Yeah, some of the drivers having to be a little bit careful, but it should be expected here. This is a package where you have to have a triple car tandem to be able to make the line work, to carry the energy forward. But some of these drivers are just willing to just let the car breathe. There's just those different philosophies of, Is it willing to get our line moving? Should we get the outside fighting on? There's so many different philosophies we're seeing pop up here as the inside, even with them not really pushing hard, are still running faster than the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, just a handful of laps ago, we only had 8 cars in the outside line, but now the outside line's just filled to the brim. But more and more cars are leaving that outside line and pulling down once they find a spot down below. But you can see it's growing slightly. So I think it's really just trying to make sure that the bottom line's able to keep saving gas, and they want to get into a position in that line where they can do that up towards the front. So that way when they come down pit road, the only danger they really got is people running them over from behind, not necessarily losing time because guys slowing down too much.
As we go, by the way, over the course of this run, as you would expect, Anderson is the highest running out of those who have to race their way in per the last couple laps. You have Duggar also in that conversation, Mesnard, Basin, Coffey, with Owens and Isaacs, amongst those in the teens that are estimated to be around that cut currently. That's obviously going to shuffle over the course of this run. We're only coming up to 12 laps complete this time. But right now, you have to start thinking about where that stop's going to be. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, Kirk. I know you're not as much the fan maybe as the pit early call that we see a lot in some of the money races. But remember, there's the difference of coming up to the short stop at the start and the end that might come up. You also have the potential of drivers being up to speed with the short run. There's so many ways you can approach the stop here when it comes to Daytona that will impact the strategy play for this pack.
You know, that short pit idea, it works at some tracks. Like Daytona, you can pit, come back out and not lose a lap. That's a big deal. But you got to be able to work with a group of cars to be able to do that. If you're in the line for a long period of time, you're going to have less gas, and those guys are behind you that save some fuel so that way they can go farther. Now, it's only if you have teammates that are willing to go with you. That's whenever it works. However, right now, I see that one Conti car up in the front of the field right now. He's been leading for a while, and I'm not seeing any other Conti cars anywhere near him right now.
Yeah, that's a good question point, because you have Quintero, who is a Conti setup car in the P1 racing machine, down in 22nd. You have Cameron Stone, who's a Conti machine at the back of the field, a couple other Conti setups towards the tail. Interesting play for Hall. Does that really come to a factor of you want to try something different here, Kirk, than your teammates, where some of them want to ride and hope for incidents? Or is this, what's the play here if you're Hall to spread away from your teammates?
Now, you got to think of the history of this guy. Dustin Hall has a habit, and unfortunately, it's not a good one, and it's not even his fault. He's getting involved in a lot of incidents over the past handful of races, going even back into last year. He rides around the back where he normally was, but I think he's trying to flip the script. I think he's trying to run up front and be in a position where if he's going to get wrecked, it's going to be somebody else's fault turning him. But up front, he has a lot more control of avoiding the big one, avoiding big accidents, and I think that might be what he's doing here. You go back and look at his previous races on the super speedways, I swear it feels like he's involved in a handful of these big ones. So just keep an eye on that one car. Hopefully he stays out of trouble tonight, but he's leading this thing, and I think it's because he's trying to go in a different spot from where he normally would run in these races.
There is a small counterpoint too. He does have vroom vroom to be able to maybe work with. So there is that option to communicate and sync up strategy at least. They aren't hooked up bumper to bumper. It does give an option, period, there. Here comes the outside line. The Ryko machine of Duggar made his name known last time out. One of the Ryko factory machines. Getting some help from Mesnard. He also has Tanner Marti in the LRP machine, giving a little bit of space for the time being. Duggar trying to make waves early on, has looked like a solid threat for races early on for a driver that is really getting himself really known to a lot of these drivers for the first time this weekend and over the past last week.
Absolutely. He's been in the sim for a long time, but a lot of these guys may not know him. They might not have ever run with him. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know who he was until about a week ago. So knowing that now, He's just trying to. I think, of course, he's going to try his best to make the race. He might already be locked in. I'm not 100% sure. But if you are in his, he is not. So in that case, he's just trying to get in a position where he doesn't have to worry about not making the race. His number one goal should be making the race without causing a stir. If he's able to do that, I think that'll be something that'll be exciting to watch and gain some of the respect of those he's running with. And you want to run with the guys up at the front. If you're not well known, you want to show them your driving style so that way they can trust you to be able to push you up to the front. You got to make some friends, or at least some accomplices in trying to steal the lead away. That's really all you really need to do. So just making sure he doesn't make any erratic moves. And he looks like he can hold a line pretty dang well. I've been watching him the last few laps, and that car is not dancing around. He's straight on. But the car behind, 73 of Mesnard there, I believe, last year had a really rough go at it. But he's behind him, and I think that might be a good thing for him right now.
Yeah, getting himself a little bit of practice pushing along here, see where the runs are going to be later on, test some things, see how the bumpers mesh. Because in particular, there's been an interesting fact that I've noticed here over the course of some of the races throughout the week. That Toyota rear end is very sensitive to damage for whatever reason, especially with a Chevy push. You push too hard, you can demolish the rear bumper of the Toyota for whatever reason with the update.
No kidding. Well, you'll have to forgive me. This is the first one I've seen since the update. But wow. So I guess you just got to be really careful with that Toyota out front.
Hearing pit stops, and remember the short stops? They're coming a little bit earlier. They're coming now. This is going to be about a 41-lap run for these drivers here, including Pearson, including Bobby Anderson, Graves, Williams, Whibley, along with Kritz and Hutchinson, in a black flag hearing for one of the drivers. That is Neil Pearson that's picked up the black flag.
That 62 car, a little too quick on pit road. Not necessarily a good thing to be happening right now. And because all those cars pitted, it made our main pack really separated. 4 cars lost the draft there. Blake Klobuchar, Robert Miller, Cody Porter, and Jeremy Brown are all way farther back, and they're kind of stuck away from the pit road entrance. Now take a look at this top pack. Will anyone come down? Nope, not this time. They're choosing to stay out another lap.
Gonna try and go for the long strategy maybe here. There is an important note that may be coming to play with the speeding penalties here too. Last week, the cone was at the end of where the blue is for where the blend is between the grass and the pit lane and the apron, you know what I mean? But it's now moved back a few feet, so it's an earlier pit cone for drivers, so that will be a bit of an adjustment period. You're talking about a difference of maybe 20, 50 feet, give or take, for your braking mark for pit road.
Yeah, I was playing around earlier today, actually, on it, on a AI fun thing, you know, slam on my brakes like I normally would, and I've got speeding on pit road, and I was ticked off. Yeah, so I didn't notice they moved it. But, yeah, I guess that's something you got to plan for now. Change up your brake markers, guys. Daytona's changed.
Right now, the back of the pack looking to stay in tow. It's 21 cars deep. No one has lost tow with the pack this entire race, by the way. No one's fallen off the back. The only car that's been at risk of that is Jeremy Brown, who I think's been playing with the gears. We do have, with the pit stops, though, some that have lost friends. Wimbley has lost touch to the pit pack, and this is not good if you're the 3. One of the drivers that needs to race their way in has nobody to help.
Yeah, he's kind of in a stuck position. He's going to need a little bit of help right now to be able to get back in this. Man, I hate to see it for him. He lost 2 seconds in the pits after a longer pit stop. So that's really what can cause that. But look out. Holy cow, there's a lot of side drafting up front. That outside line's making them have to ride behind him. Wow, what a pick.
Oh, Hall trying to make the middle work. 3 wide force with the lap car. How is this going to work out? Isaacs blends. It looks like the outside line will let the blend happen. And no one wants to go 3 wide at all, Kirk. It was a commonplace in some of the races for those who watched one with the PGR Esports Network for the PGR 500 qualifiers. Not now. the FLCC 500 with the duels. The plan is simple. Don't wreck the race car. They're running 45 fives in the heart of the pack, but 46 fours at the head of it. They are faster than the cars who already went for the short pit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's something I've always been very hesitant to do is the short pit. If you only get like 4 or 5 cars, it might not be enough. And it looks like that's what's happening right now to these guys that came down a little early. They're trying to get set up a little more to where there's maybe 6 or 7. But right now, it looks like that they're not really working on that too good right now. That pack Timothy Harper is leading right now is just leaps and bounds faster, and these guys got to know that. They know this is happening. So because of that, they are just going to be pushing as hard as they can, and they will not pit until they absolutely have to make sure that those guys that did pit don't have a chance.
So meanwhile, as the second pack tries to sort itself out, Timothy Harper, by the way, and one of the machines that we've seen pop up with Dig, of course, races well with Precision, Speed Solutions. They have a big camp here tonight working with their drivers. Harper, one of the drivers that's also racing tomorrow in Super Speedway action. He said earlier in the week that he picked this green car because it's Carlioma month, awareness month specifically, and the color for that is green. That is a often form of bile duct cancer that develops in the Blurry system, essentially trying to bring reference to that with family members. Right now, Harper doing a good job working with a teammate in Coffee to build up the pace up at the front. Corey Moore also doing the same. 3 PSS machines lined up in tow.
Just really working together well. I mean, you don't get to see that very often, but I like the move they did whenever they were passing that lap car, the 3 car, Charles Wembley there. They were on the outside 1, 2, 3, and whenever they saw that lap car coming on the bottom, they pinched the bottom line down to force them to have to ride behind the 3 car, and that's what got them clear to the lead. And now they have a 1 car that's a lap down buffer to the rest of the field, and that 3 car actually might appreciate that a little bit because now that 3 car is the first car 1 lap down. So if we get a caution, that car gets his lap back.
And is actually outrunning the other pack right now. The downside is it is a 41-second, 42-second gap to them. We'll have to keep an eye on where it fares out. We have a spinner
on the backstretch. Right there, the 98 actually of Stephen Williams goes around, facing the wrong direction.
Still letting it roll. No caution. No caution. Williams, he was in the second pack that just pit. Neil Pearson drove right through him, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it. 62 might not have known these two were going to get so close to the back bumper of the second car, and just bad spot for him to have to lift. And that's what gets him sideways. And it looks like right now he is back underway under his own power and trying to get rolling again.
I mean, you can expect to see those types of pushes where you're trying to get now 4 or 5 car tandems that pop up, but that was also a little upset maybe. But as we go on here, we're almost halfway through Duel 1. For those tuning in, the Haterade 150s, everybody drinking that Haterade and making sure they stay clinched today. Haterade, the official race name, Haterade, also a part of the memes for today. For those wondering, FLCC does like to be very playful with some of the names and logos, especially this season. But as they go here, pit stops are within about 10 minutes or so coming up. The drivers that is also in this pack that we haven't talked too much about. How about the BMP machine, Paul Gallimore, who's looked quick here throughout the weekend, was one of the drivers that tried to race in earlier today. You're talking about, for Gallimore's case, he had to race in an LCQ that he won. Then he raced another 60 laps on top of the 30 for the LCQ. That's 90. He is racing tonight in the course of about, give or take, 8-9 hours, 150 laps. He's nearly ran the full length of the FLCC 500 in a day already.
Well, I guess you could say he's having a blast then, because he's still doing it. You know, I find it interesting when folks want to continue to do that over and over again, but man, that guy just must love racing. I like hearing stories like that. Find passion in what you love to do and go out there and run as much as you can.
Pit stop time coming up. Interesting enough, Precision Speed Solutions machines all want to work together here and come in. It's an earlier call than expected. Nicholas Roman, Dustin Hall, a lot of people want to split this race up the middle. Here they go. It's a land rush. Will everyone make it clean?
Whoa!
No!
Lord, no! Dustin Hall got sideways in the pit lane. Look out, everybody. Gallimore gets spun. Gallimore's around.
That was chaos to get around Hall. Gallimore just got turned around. That was the 44. One of the drivers trying to race their way in. Cliff Mullins, heavy damage. Chaos abound from all those cars. That was more than 10 entering. Let's take a look.
So the 11 made it, but the car in front of him did not. The one car, he didn't see him. He had to turn left to avoid. Slight contact, not too bad a damage for the 44, but definitely a lot of time being lost. And the 11 spun out on his pit exit as well.
Drivers coming out of pit road. 30 of Owens losing tons of ground. One of the drivers need to race their way in also. That leaves only 3 because Anderson, Sean Anderson, Dylan Basin, Cameron Stone, Alan Duggar, Robert Miller have all ducked down pit road, along with Cody Porter. Some of those drivers had lost touch with some of the competitors in the main pack before the pit sequence. So those drivers peel down, and that leaves Galata, DeCiani, and Isaacs on an island.
But looking at these cars that are now up at the front of the field, you got Patrick Gitter leading this race right now. No, sorry, let me try that again. Joseph Galata leading this race, but Patrick Gitter's leading the line, pulling them along. Not for long. Now they're all coming down pit road. That 21 came out there to try and help out some teammates. Some friends, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why he's still out there.
Hearing back straight away. Trying to sort out who may have just spun. There was a call on the radio that someone had spun around. Can't confirm Dylan Kritz had done it down the front stretch, in fact, and hit the wall. No caution, though.
Oh, no, I hate to see it. 64 car, heavy front end damage for that one. Let's take a look. Oh, goodness. Look out. Oh, man, that stinks.
Yep, and one of the drivers looking to try and play the different strategy. Just had the strategy go bust and quick. So Kritz, one of the drivers trying to race their way in. We'll have to hope for a caution flag at the minimum at this point. By the way, Galata and company have come out of pit road. You know what? They just came out in front. DeCiani and Isaacs the same, but here comes Harper with the help of Roman, with Coffey, with Basin, and with Sean Anderson. That is the entire lead group. Just 8 cars are in the main pack.
And remember, that 21 is multiple laps down, so leader on the inside line right there in the 21 is just out here having some fun with them right now.
Yep, and as they shuffle on Sean Anderson, it's Timothy Harper that gets to lead some laps on that call. The drivers who went for the short pit call are 7 seconds back of your net leaders. So here's the situation as we go for the cutoff, past the halfway point and past the pit stops. The drivers currently in are Harper, Coffey, Basin, Anderson, Galata, Isaacs, Moore. Of those who have to need to race their way in, that's per the cycle now. Moore is now on the cut line, give or take, in this sequence. So for a lot of the drivers I just read off there, the hope is for it to stay clean. The downside is Moore is amongst those in the second pack that's having a shuffle with a few drivers who are also on that same need to race their way in play.
So in my head, I'm seeing, so you're saying that Moore is on the positive side of the cut line, right?
He is on the positive side, but as the last car in.
Yeah, if that's the case, the real battle for this win, the win of the duel is going to be cool and all, but everybody in that front pack is going to be the one that's going to be battling for it. I don't think the second pack might have a chance to actually catch them. They're running 46.8s, the leaders are running 46.7s, but the gap is well over 4 seconds. So because of that, it would be very difficult for them to be able to catch back up to the back bumper. So I think the real focus should be on Corey Moore, because really it's now shortened it down to one free spot left. If anybody wants to get in, they got to pass that 42.
And that's going to be a lot of pressure if you're Jeremy Brown in particular, because guess what? He would be the next one to try and battle in. Then it's Latour in the P1 machine. Then it's Duggar, who is looking to try and come on in. Looks like a black clear. Cliff Mullins, I think, just elected to come through the grass because he just got bumped by William Owens into the grass.
Didn't we see William Owens get a car a little loose during the clash?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Something we may have seen.
And
yeah, very
offset.
Similar. Yeah. This time it was in the middle of the tri-oval. The last time it was out of turn 4. So I'd be a little sketched out if I was on a front bumper of that 30.
And as we go, believe one driver just got a penalty. It's Cody Porter. Too many pit stalls rolled through on one of their entry/exits. Cody Porter will have to come back down. It's in 20th at the moment. And it lost the lead pack, and now is going to be one of the last cars on the track by the end of this one. 23 to go at the stripe. See how the distance is faring out between the two packs. It's still hesitating and hovering at about 4 or 5 seconds difference. They are running near identical speeds.
I think that second pack's actually slowing down a little bit. It's going to constantly grow. I don't think that second pack's catching back up to the leader, so unless you see a caution. That, if you are anyone behind Corey Moore, you are begging for a caution.
All of this as well. Harper continues to parade up at the front of the field. Interesting to see some of the dynamics here today from one of the Conti cars. Harper, one of the championship contenders last season, collecting a ride on the bumper here. Try and power his way ahead. And they will pass by Cody Porter here in one of the machines under the banner of slow for this season. For those who missed the clash, no, that is not because they are slow. It's because their team name is called in this series Short Little Occasional Winners. They do have Robert Miller, who was with Altus last season, and they do have Johnny Avila, part of that partnership this season.
This season's just filled with so many silly season changes. You know, it's going to take me forever to look at the 8 car and not think Ralph Hutchinson. I know that was just ingrained in me last season, but now he's moved over to the 19. That's something to keep in mind, but that's just one example of a handful of people that have moved around ever since the beginning of the offseason. It's just people have been bouncing all over the place. And now it's going to be hard to find out who's going to make it through the whole season. But those that stick it out, no doubt about it, will all know who they're running for and the whole thing by the end of it. No doubt about it.
I mean, it's interesting as well to talk about the manufacturer dynamic. We talked about the change to the Chevy. Heard a lot of conversation as well where the cars are not essentially one-to-one now. A lot of people have liked, for example, the pushes between the Toyotas and the Ford's front nose here this week. That's something to keep an eye on. There's not a lot of Fords in this league group, but the Toyotas seem to be pretty prominent with the Chevys amongst this group, and we've already talked about how some of those cars seem to be meshing together with pushes, especially since with the update, you cannot push offset or else you will spin someone for sure.
Ever since they repaved this place, before people couldn't get close enough to where it was so bumpy, they couldn't get close enough to actually make any moves here. But look at 23 here. He's going to have to go to the outside, make a pass because these lap cars here on the bottom. There's Kritz, who we saw spinning, the 11 car who was involved in an accident, and the 44 all crashed on pit road. But now they're in the bottom line backing up. But what I was saying is that when you're going through these corners in the old racetrack, it bounced all over the dang place. You couldn't push nobody. But they repaved this thing and they made it smooth and nice and easy. And you can just drive over everything. It's just clean and clear. And that's why you see these giant crashes at the end of the races. They're able to get closer and do crazier moves because now it's easier to catch up to the back bumper. That's really the truth of the matter. And so much so that they've been pushing each other just like this. And with all these changes they're making to the front of the cars, that's exactly why they're doing it. It's trying to reduce the amount of bump drafting, even though it's never going to get rid of it.
Yeah, especially since this car, you could absolutely push in the corners here too in some cases. And push the pusher is encouraged. You get screamed at if you don't push the pusher in a lot of cases.
Yeah, sure.
New runners up front too here, by the way. Almore's up front, you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. But, you know, you can definitely do that, and that's the way you got to succeed right now. But you know the sanctioning body doesn't want that to keep happening. They just see the big wrecks. Obviously, I think some of them might in a way, but I'm not entirely sure. But what I can say is looking here at this pack, seeing the 21 car lead it, he's multiple laps down, but Galata there sitting right now looks like in first place, even though the 21 car's leading the line. You can see it right there. He's in a position where he doesn't have to worry about anything.
Indeed. Right now, as we come up to 16 laps to go, the field gets itself mostly single file. Basin just cut to the inside at the very end. Gallimore is the only one who wasn't able to find a gap. They did find Kritz, though, who, interesting enough, is going to be in the main pack. The downside is one of the last cars in this race. That battle for the distance between 8th and 9th continues to show up on screen as expected. The gap has increased. It's now to 9 seconds, by the way, with Bobby Anderson now leading that respective pack as they are shuffling a little bit back there with the pressure to try and make the show.
Yeah, let's try and keep an eye back here on this 5 car back here with Bobby Anderson. We got to get a camera on it because this is where the real race to get into it is. If this front pack continues to be single file, they'll all make it to the Daytona to the FLCC 500. But these guys back here, one mistake and they're out. They got to be leading this pack. Some of them have tier 1, so they're already safe, but some of them do not. And they need to be in the lead of this pack, or at least the first one as an open car in this little group. So you only really got one spot left out of everybody in this pack.
My rough estimates here, I believe Graves, with that recent pass here too in this pack with the shuffle, is now in the show for now. And Graves, an error driver who elected to take part of the clash last week, can he get himself into the show and make a name? That is another Black Flag Motorsports competitor looking to race their way in here today and make a statement. As we come up to under 15 to go, when does the aggression pick up here, you think? When does somebody try and make the move on the outside to try and get themselves in, knowing that 01 is likely your cut line and is your cut line?
You know, I think right now, if you're a car that's in this pack that we're looking at right now, this long single file, it looks like there's maybe 15, 20 cars in this little pack here. If you are one of these guys in the back half, you are making your move now. You got to work with people around you, and you got to understand, I will not make it into the FLCC 500 if I do not start pushing right now to get to the front and lead this line. And you know, you might even work with people you're trying to race against, but your friends are where you find them. You cannot ride around in the back, lap after lap, and expect to make it into the race unless everybody in front of you wrecks and you luck out. And I never want to count on luck. I want to try everything I can to get in a position to advance into the biggest race of the year. And right now, Graves is doing a great job in that, but I tell you what, he's got a car right on his tail that would do just about anything to try and make it in. And we only got 13 to go when they cross the stripe.
Let's see if the True Speed machine can get themselves truly into the race here is the question on his mind. Down to the final 12 to go. This upcoming time by for the field, by the way, as they continue to try and pace themselves out. Thinking about that lead pack quickly, by the way, Galata is the leader in that grouping at the moment. We mentioned a little bit about the new paint scheme here, bringing Skip Barber Racing School aboard. That's because in the course of the past few days, got hired as the Sim Center manager. spearheading the sim operation for Skip Barber Racing School and looking to help with the expansion of it. Now, the sim center itself, for those wondering, Skip Barber Racing School does have its own training venue, essentially, where, remember, they've been around since the 1970s as a grouping and have had series like Skip Barber Formula I Racing Series. Now they're looking to expand their Long Island facility and have Galata at the helm of it to be able to bring attention to that and be able to, well, help drivers develop.
Well, he is one of the better car drivers I've seen in a long time. Last season, he kind of came out of nowhere, and he was leading and winning everywhere he went, it seemed like. He was running in the top 5, and if he wasn't in the lead, it was because he got wrecked out of the lead. So, honestly, he's one of those guys that you know has got the talent to be able to teach these young guys what to do. And honestly, I think that's wonderful, and I'm very happy for that, man. I wish him the best of luck going out and doing that. That's really dang cool.
Good opportunity for Galata, absolutely, especially with the rise of sim racing and a lot of demand for it. As we continue to see him work with DeCiani. Isaacs, by the way, Gitter is the one leading this pack in this circumstance. Gitter, at the least, trying to record some laps here, is 19 laps down, did pass O'Brien, so it'll be a back of the field start for next week for Gitter, but we know he's got the speed when the connection's stable.
They're coming up on this group of lap cars. They got to be real careful here. Outside line, they're dropping back like that. But, again, that's going to be putting them 3 wide in a couple spots. Look out. Nice and comfortable, no big deal. All right, they made it through. But, again, my eyes are just glued to this battle back here, waiting for the moment somebody to make a move in the second pack, trying to make it into the big race. When are they going to make that move? I don't know. But up here for the win of this race, sure, that matters a little bit. They can start up front in the big race. But as you saw earlier, we saw the 1 car of Dustin Hall. He went from 21st to the lead in less than 10 laps. That guy is able to just move from one end to the other. However, he hasn't had really the luck in the latter part of the race. But the point is that you can go from the back to the front. So starting position, cool and all. But I don't know how important it's really going to be at the grand scheme of things in the 500. It's more about making the race, let alone where you start.
Oh, hold on!
Contact! Galata, who is that up the wall? The 11 car got involved in it. More carnage. 44 cars.
Mullins. Caution. Dylan Kritz. Cliff Mullins go around to fully bring out the yellow as the lead pack implodes. So look out, here comes pack 2. And so just like that, 2 of the open cars, well, they are going to be very much having some open hoods here with repairs.
Kritz pushing that car, and these guys are a lap down. Made contact with the 11 car, 21 of Patrick Gitter involved there. 44 still in the wall, overcorrected, went straight down into Dylan Kritz. Contact there with the 3 car as well, but those 2 got the worst end of it. Cliff Mullins and Dylan Kritz. Definitely not what they wanted to see, but technically it kind of helps them a little bit. Even though they were involved in the wreck, they might not get the wave. We'll have to see what race control does there, but yeah, definitely in a rough spot for both of them.
Well, this is going to really shuffle the cut line, isn't it, with the packs regrouped? Yeah, Mullins pushed in the corner, try to keep it in the wall. Obviously something broke with the contact, and boom, right across into the 64. That's enough to bring out the caution. Wembley also in the vicinity of the spinning machines. And that's a big caution flag. We'll have to keep an eye on this for this end of the race. It's going to get wild for the transfer. Here's a look again from Kritz.
On the bottom of the racetrack, he's just going to see a puff of smoke out of his right corner of his eye, right there. And then here they come right here, just out of nowhere. Well, pow, right in front of you. Well, how do you do, right front tire? Just spun out just like that, and not having the night he needs tonight, Dylan Kritz. He's been involved in us getting pushed the wrong way, and none of it was his fault. It's just very unfortunate for Dylan. Hopefully he can get that car fixed, and who knows, maybe he could pull off a miracle.
So this is obviously going to shuffle the cut line as updates come on through. Basin, Galata, Coffey, Anderson, Harper, the top tier 2 drivers. 2 or 3 slots are Isaacs and Graves with the caution period. That's about to change here for the entire field with 7 to go. And a restart likely coming as a result with 5 laps to work with. It's going to get very dramatic, and that is a commonplace when it comes to Daytona. For whatever reason, with the late race yellow, everybody seems to lose their minds to gain spots here. And remember, it's unlimited green, white checkers, Kirk, in this case.
Oh, goody.
Does that intimidate the drivers at all, or is that even a factor, you think?
No, not even a part of your thought right now. It just all depends on your track position. Some guys up at the front, I'm sure the only thing they're thinking is, I'm going to win this race no matter what. I'm going to block. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure these guys don't get by me. And if I don't make it, I'm going to get wrecked trying. That's going to be their thought process. They're willing to do whatever it takes to make the big race. Obviously, you got guys out there like Roman, who's already locked in. There's no big deal with him. He can just go out there and try to win and have fun. But he's got to remember that he's got some guys out here that are tier 2, tier 3 in terms of their charter. And because of that, they're not locked in. They got to race their way in. And he's got to be cautious of that. Hopefully, if you know you're in, you kind of don't want to take anybody else out. It kind of feels that way. So no matter what, he just wants to win the duel so he can have the best possible starting position and the bragging rights. But again, you got cars like I said, Dylan Basin. I believe you said Galata, right? Galata's also tier 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So these guys, they cannot wreck. They cannot. They are in a position where they're up at the front. The last thing they want to do is get sent to the back.
So it's survival of the fittest. Up at the front of this field is Nicholas Roman with Dylan Basin second. Galata and DiCiani Coffee the top 5. The restart. Isaacs, Sean Anderson, Harper, Bobby Anderson, Graves are your top 10. Coming up to what will be a 5-lap dash to determine how this duel fares out for the inside row for next Saturday. And you can see how much the dirt's picked up around this racetrack. A lot of it's picked up with that purple. It really makes the dirt shine, does it?
I cannot stand looking at that car. I tell you what. When you're in a car racing against that paint scheme, it's like an eyesore, and it's really a tool that you can use to distract other drivers, and it works. It absolutely works. And not saying that that's a problem. He's definitely in a good position. We're already doubled up all the way through this field, trying to get organized in the back of the field right now. I have no idea who's going to be able to make it into the final run here, but I know it's going to get crazy because now nobody's saving gas. They're going to push 100%, and I'm just going to be a little worried for anybody with a Toyota back end getting pushed by a Chevy. If you see that, look out. I think there's a chance we might have some sort of problem.
Here we go. Coming up towards the restart. Just need a pace for the half a lap. And remember, some of the drivers are going to be very desperate to gain some positions here. You talk about some of the drivers like Couture, who needs to pick up ground. Jeremy Brown, going to need to pick up some ground. A lot of the other drivers who are open competitors actually are amongst those a lap down. Some of the drivers out of the chances here. Charles Wimbley, William Owens, Cliff Mullins. Crits also amongst those who are likely, unless something changes with attendance, to be sitting on the sideline. But here we go. It's 2 purple cars that control things up the front. It's Roman and it's Basin on the front row. 5 laps to go in Duel 1. As part of the Haterade 150s. Here we go to the restart zone. They wait to the green flag trigger, and the inside line gets a better jump. Back and away, the 95 and the 99 hook up. Basin can't get the gears as quick as Coffee also streaks his way now to the outside.
Couple more cars going up to the top. You see Roman going up there to the top. That leaves the door open for Galata on the bottom, getting pushed by Sean Anderson on the bottom. This is a 5-lap dash to the finish, and that outside line's just starting to pull away.
Working his way around, Roman works to the bottom to play the Pied Piper. Coffee stays high groove. Coming up 4 laps to go as some of the open cars work together. The Tier 2 entries. trying to find a way to win this one to set up for row 2 for the FLCC 500. Right now, nobody willing to make a third line, though. Nobody willing to push the envelope.
Might be safer, but that outside line, it is quick if you get a good cars up there. I haven't seen anybody try it, and there's really a lot of defending in the back. It might not look like it up here at the front, but it kind of progressively goes higher as it goes back further in the outside line. So making that third lane is kind of difficult at this point. But still, side by side up here at the front, Coffee and Basin make it clear down to the bottom. There goes Basin. He almost turned to 54, but he's going to be side by side with him off turn 4.
Big side trap pulls back Basin. Coffee gets clear. Does he bring DeCiani down with him? They both got ahead. Coffee stays high side. Elects to not work with DeCiani. Instead, it's Isaacs over the bumper of the 54. Down to the final couple laps. Less than 3 laps to go. Nobody yet to force the outside groove. We do have a couple cars offset 3, but nobody making a third line quite yet. Some of the lap cars actually thinking about 3 wide. That's about it.
Trying to do something. That's all you can say. Up front, still side by side. Look at that. Matt DeCiani in the 4 car had one of the best statistical seasons last year. Now leads the duels with 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe. Man, that is just so dang cool to see. But who's it going to be at the line next time by? Who knows? Coming to get 2 to go. There we go. Now down into turn number 1. Outside line goes down. That 2 car is going to go down with them.
Able to block off the inside. Now PSS controls the inside and the outside lines, though. Now Timothy Harper rolling up there. Does anybody try and block off Harper? No move from Isaacs, electing to stay down there. Knows he's safe to try to advance as long as there's no trouble. But as we come up to the white flag, a small move for the 2. Doesn't go. Bobbles up. Drifts up. Harper now gets blocked off by Coffee. White flag is out. Final time around in Duel 1.
The 4 car got put in the middle. There goes DeCiani dropping straight back there. 3 wide, 4 wide in some places in this field. They're starting to get organized, but up front, the top 3 are on the top line there. You can see it there. The 54 of Alex Coffey, Timothy Harper, and Casey Graves on the top side. 2 on the bottom, and they are 3 by 3 for 6th rows behind them.
3 by 3. Who survives down the back straight away? Jeremy Brown, one of the drivers, about to try and race their way in. Graves going for the lead. Gets blocked by Coffey. Harper has no help. This could be dangerous for his spot. Isaacs now moves up. Everybody shuffling off at turn 4. The race to the win. Graves to the outside. Here comes Coffey Doring. Everybody wrecks behind. Coffey gets turned around, but who gets the scoring loop? It is Coffey who does by 2 1,000ths.
What a finish. Holy cow, that thing's close as I've ever seen. Look at that. Casey Graves just barely missing out on it, but Alex Coffey wins at Daytona. That was awesome. First duel, what a finish. That was fantastic driving all the way out of turn 4. 3 by 3 by 3 all the way through the field. That was phenomenal.
This is definitely going to have to get looked at here by officials. What a wild end to this race here as everybody piled up. I think several drivers skimmed through pit road as well. I think some of the drivers like Basin finished sideways with the crash. That crash, I think, actually gave Coffey the win too with the angle at the line, somehow getting him the nose edge.
I'm trying to look at it right now from a side view, and I think you're absolutely right. If it wasn't for him spinning, I don't think he would have won that race.
So, look at how close it was. Brown actually turned him around there. He is one of the top drivers from Tier 3. My, oh my, and then you have pile-ups galore. Some of the drivers finishing the wrong way. Unofficially, Coffey, Graves, Coutray, Basin, Moore, Brown, Isaac would be in. Brown and Isaacs, rather, is the unofficial race control finishing result with a lot to review here, Kirk.
Yeah, there's so many cars that were involved in accidents here. There's no way that we'd be able to get an accurate statement for you right out of the gate. We know for a fact, though, Casey Graves is making the race. No doubt about it. He finished second today just by 2/1000ths of a second. That's so dang close. That is wild. You know, Larry McReynolds once said 2/1000ths of a second he beat Boyer. Same thing happened here. Coffee beat him. That was wild.
So it's Coffee, Graves, Brown, Coutray, along with Vroman and Hutchinson in the top 6. Basin, DeCiani, along with Stone and Isaacs, the top 10.
11th finisher. Well, again, these are unofficial. Corey Moore. Paul Gallimore gets 12th. Timothy Harper in 13th. 14th, Tanner Marty. Robert Miller, 15th. Sean Anderson in 16th. Bobby Anderson in 17th. Joseph Galata, who was leading a lot of this, dropped back to 18th. Alan Duggar in 19th and Evan Mesnard 20th.
21st goes the way of William Owens, along with Charles Wimbley 22nd, Pearson, Mullins, Porter, Hall, Kritz, Stephen Williams, Gitter, and O'Brien Jr. on the way they end out duel number 1 here for the Haterade 150s. And as we finish things out for duel 1, still waiting for some of the drivers here. It's a quick turnaround of about 15 minutes between the duels to the next one here, Kirk. Your takeaways here as we sort things out on what the drivers expect after that one.
That was nothing short of just fantastic driving by everybody in that field at the end of that race. You don't normally get a group of guys this big, 30 cars, that are able to run 3x3x3 for an entire final 2 laps and not wreck until out of turn 4. I got to tell you, that is something that is so rare to see, and it's so humbling because I love seeing it when they make it off 4. At least get off turn 4 and then go crazy, whatever you got to do. But everybody put in every ounce of effort they could to try and make this race, win this race, and unfortunately, some folks are not going to be in it. However, others are going to feel the jubilation of knowing that they are going to be in the full-length Cup Challenge FLCC 500. Biggest race of the year. Some guys have already locked it in. Others, again, heartbroken. Just how it is here at Daytona sometimes.
So with that being said here, as the drivers debrief after that one, we'll take a step aside here, allow the drivers to compose themselves because a lot of them are going to the spotter stand in less than 15 minutes. You're watching Maconi Entertainment for coverage of the FLCC. Looking high above Daytona as we continue our coverage of the Duels, the Haterade 150s here on Maconi Entertainment as the full-length Cup Challenge looks to punch several more drivers' tickets into the show. Justin Pertz, Kirk Mills alongside for today. Howie Burrows, our producer for tonight's coverage, as we continue on with the action from the World Center of Racing. We have a whole new slate of drivers looking to qualify their way in tonight, Kirk. And right now, the pressure is on for them to be able to survive the course of 60 laps, 150 or so miles.
We just saw one of the best duels I've seen in a long time. Very much a strategy race all the way down to one wreck. Gave us a nice 5-lap shootout to the finish. What's going to happen in this next one, Lord can only know. We got a stacked field. You look at the people out here with crazy I-rating numbers. Cody Johnson with 83.44, crazy high. You know, another one right there. You're going to see people in the 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 I-rating here. And these guys are just so dang good, and they're all fighting just to make it in to the full FLCC 500. That's the biggest race of the year. We just saw a heck of a race of what people would do to try and win, and now we're going to see just the same thing here tonight. I have no idea what's going to come across the screen.
Drivers' meeting is currently underway for competitors here as they get ready for the next race. Some of the drivers that are going to be racing in the open category of note. Tommy Gossett is a part of that lineup. You also have Ryan Van Henschel, who will be one of the EPI competitors looking to race their way in. Part-timer Eddie Rose is back. Raymond Root is here tonight. Edward Shore Jr., who picked up the win when it came to the Clash last week, is here today, along with Cody Johnson, just a part of the Tier 2s. The Tier 3s include Jose Medina. Sean Conklin is a big name, though, that is really going to have to be up front. That's a Tier 3 driver in terms of your open classifications.
You got to understand, if you're a Tier 3 driver, you want to be in the top 3. You want to be in the top 2 of the other Tier 3 guys and in the top 7 of everybody else. If you could finish in the top 7 and make sure that you only have one other Tier 3 guy in front of you, then you're going to make the race. That's the goal there. So we'll see, but it is going to be one wild race, and cars are already out there. I'm looking at some of the paint schemes right now. It is just, they have gone all out this year. You can see so many different looks. You'll see them when we're on the grid. But it's just some of the best paint schemes I've seen all season, all compared to last year. It's just a giant step up for everybody.
Indeed it is for a lot of these drivers. So it's the important factor of being able to make your way into the show. Keep in mind in terms of the grid for some of the drivers tonight. Get up the qualifications over the course of the week. Jason S. Taylor locked himself onto the outside front row for the FLCC 500 for Black Flag. Johnny Avila was your top open competitor in terms of the qualifications. So a good spot when it comes to Avila looking to make his in-season debut tonight. But Jason S. Taylor, as mentioned, made that big announcement with Black Flag expanding the amount of drivers this season, Kirk. It's going to be big for him if he's going to be able to start off with a bang here after the up and down last season.
Yeah, I think really it's all about just going out there and having a good time, figuring out how the car runs, being safe in the first early half, and what we saw before, learn from the first duel. Do not come down pit road early unless you have a large group with you. 6 cars, it was not enough. So because of that, I think folks are going to start paying attention to when they want to come down pit road. Expect a lot of cars to be saving gas a lot more. I think that we might get a slower start, but the finish, I think, should, depending on how pit stops go, should be a little closer. We'll see what they decide to do, and who knows, it might just be, chaos. You never know what these guys decide to do. One duel's normally pretty tame, but the other one goes chaos. So you never know which one is going to be it. But what we just saw was one of the best duels I've seen in a long time. Coming down to it, it's going to be hard to follow, but I think these guys are going to do their best to give it a shot.
So as well as there is a lot of pressure for some of these competitors coming up here. Drivers' meetings already just concluded in the past few moments as we continue on with the preparations for tonight. Some of the other big names that are going to be in this race: Derek Heitman, Alex Murray, some of the drivers up at the top of the board when it comes to final practice for tonight. Lucas Hoitzma, defending champion, a part of this lineup as well here. You also have drivers like Brandon Hastings, Adam Benefield for Conti. You have Jonathan Delaney, a part of this rotation of drivers as well, looking to try and solidify good track position. Owen Hutchinson also is a part of that pack. So a lot of names looking to advance through here tonight. It's going to be important for a lot of the drivers to keep one mindset, keep it clean. So as we continue on with the weight, I've been happy with this here tonight on Maconi Entertainment for coverage of the FLCC as we continue on with the Haterade 150s here this evening. Looks like the pit practice does not work out for Taylor. He was the only driver left on the racetrack after the drivers' meeting, and he ends up spinning to the grass and shows the difficulty of how the pit road is going to be for this race.
Yeah, but luckily it's in practice. Just, figuring out where that braking zone's going to be. It's a big deal. Thinking about it right now, I think these guys, they got to know what's about to happen. Whether or not they make the actual race is all coming down to this today. And when they are getting on the grid and we figure out where they're going to be starting, we're going to give you the starting lineup. Who knows who's going to be the one to win this thing. I mean, I got a couple picks out of the gate. I want to keep an eye tonight on Nolan Hodson. Last year, he had a fantastic year. He was able to win early on when he won in Atlanta in fantastic fashion. It was really fun to watch, but you got new guys out here too, like Ryan Von Henschel. You got guys like that are just trying to make their mark in the series and see if they can, get a foot down. That's really what it's all about. But I think the cars are now getting on the grid right now.
Yes, indeed. They've finished the countdown, and it means it's time for the drivers to get rolling for tonight's action from Daytona International Speedway. We're about to find out how they'll line up a part of this grid. 28 of the drivers ended up making it here tonight originally. 30 were to be a part of registration. It's going to be Jason S. Taylor starts on the pole tonight. Lucas Hoitzma has the pace from the get-go. He'll start from the second spot tonight. Also has strong strides on the hood. Johnny Avila starts in third tonight. Alongside him, Jonathan Delaney and his sixth machine. Row number 3, that will feature the Ryco-powered machine of Nolan Hudson and Sean Conklin. Right alongside, they'll try and work together to make the show. Cody B. Johnson, he's driving an EPI car tonight. He'll start in 7th. He's been really good on the super speedways in SOF events. Thomas Kolmacheski is next to him. Rounding your top 10 tonight, Tommy Gossett in the 9th spot. Kevin Zosiak will round out the top 10 in the Ladybug.
Starting in 11th tonight will be the 48 of Tyler Hunter. His outside Alex Murray in that 22 car, trying to make his way to the front. Starting at 13th, it'd be Edward Scherer Jr. Remember this guy? He won the Clash here just last week. And then Dave Hoitzma, Maconi Setup Shop home driver. Wishing him the best of luck from Maconi Entertainment up here, starting 14th. 15th will be Raymond Root in the 51 car. And to his outside will be Wesley Napier in 16th. 17th tonight will be the driver of, let's see if we can get that going. There we go. Adam Benefield in the 83 car. And to his outside will be Derek Heitman, and the rest of the cars will be going across your screen on the field right now.
They continue on with the grid here. You have drivers like Paul Hill towards the back of the running order here today. You have drivers like Brandon Hastings also towards the rear end of the pack today. Jose Medina and Devin Medeiros will be the last of the cars in this grid tonight. So that's a look top to bottom at the running order here tonight. 28 cars deep. Your keys here, Kirk, before we get some boogities.
Well, I got to tell you right now, keep the car underneath you, get through the first pit stop, and make sure you go with the largest amount of cars you can. And avoid cars over braking, spinning out. But really, we're about to go racing here at Daytona, baby. That Daytona. At night, under the lights, it's one of the most exciting races of the year. I always like it when they come here. But in the duels, there's just an extra amount of pressure because you got to make the race. Some of these guys are safe, some are not, and some are really not. So we'll see what happens as we come out of turn number 4. That pace car is going to go ahead and dive down into the pit lane. And that number 60, Jedi Taylor, is going to take him through the restart zone. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
To the back straight away for the first time. The outside line continues to make things work. Right now the 97 getting the advantage. Hoytsma making that zip around quick. A little bit different from last race. The inside worked in Duel 1. Not here. Duel 2, the outside takes control early.
Yeah, I think a good reason why is last year's champions leading the line right there. Take a look. Lucas Hoytsma. Heck of a year last year. Won a handful of races, whether it be on the super speedways or the short tracks. He won at Bristol. He won at Talladega. He's a driver that's able to win on any type of track. And we know at super speedways, he can win. Leading this thing early on is just another sign of that, no doubt about it.
Right now, the field, for the most part, plotting itself around here. See some of the PSS machines line up. Zosiak with the back end. Getting pushed with Murray here. Dave Hoytsma are the first drivers willing to get the outside groove working here. Some of the other drivers, like EPI, Eis van Henschel, also amongst those trying to get the outside groove to work here. So for the most part, starting to go status quo early on. You'll see some people want to gain the track position. Then you'll see drivers block off the run. Sean Conklin looking to take the point.
I can already say the urgency is more than what we saw in the first heat. These guys are really pushing harder on the outside line, and they are really clumped up together up the front, and I don't like the side-to-side motion I'm seeing out of the outside line. I'm a little worried about it. We'll see if they're able to calm it down a little bit, but you see some drivers already noticing this and going to the back and sticking around in the back. Jose Medina, Rich Kleiman, Brandon Hastings. These guys are able to run up front if they really want to, but they're choosing to ride in the back, trying to avoid a big accident if they come early.
Big block to the inside. Conklin covers it off yet again. Murray now to the bumper for now. Zosiak tries the side draft to keep the outside groove working. That will indeed come into play here. And we'll see a lot more of that side draft throughout the night as we expect here. Drivers continuing to just pull the lines back in this situation to get the outside to even up on speed. Around 192 miles an hour seems to be the average.
Yeah, but wow, holy cow, that 58 car really likes being able to lead a line. It looks like that he wants to stay up front, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to do that. He shifted down to the bottom. Sean Conklin. I gotta say, this guy I hadn't heard of up until last week, but he's got a good aggression about him. I think he reminds me a lot of the driver we saw last season. And I think he's just going to be interesting to watch and fun to watch this year. As they're 3 wide in the back of the pack, one car got shuffled up to the outside line, got dropped back, and it looks like that was Tyler Hunter. Correction, Brian Von Henschel. That they got double file. We're back to good. But that bottom line is getting separated a little bit. The first 8 cars seem to be pulling away.
Yeah, that's interesting right now as the inside just isn't getting the numbers grouped up to fill up the hole, and now they do. And as we expect, some of the Ryko cars looking to work together. It's Ryko and all. Right now, they have the help with Eric Heitman also joining on in. Fortune's machine in this series also has experience working under the Ryko banner. Those drivers all sync up on the outside. And you'll see a lot of these comers and goers here too over the course of the night. As a team member, do you prefer the high side or rather the back or the front in this type of a race here? Do you prefer to ride as the leaders or the followers?
I like to be first. Doesn't matter what part of the race I'm in. But then again, I'm not in this race right now. That 58 has a pretty good idea about it. But you look right there, he's in great company. Alex Murray, pretty dang fast. Lucas Hoitzman, last year's champion. And remember my pick before we even started this race. Nolan Hodgson, look at that. He's leading the outside line so fast that the 58 goes up the block. They're teammates.
Well, that's expected. You know what? That might be, again, one of the things you expect here with the Pied Piper effect. But also, if he can pull that first three grouping of teammates through, they can take full control of this outside.
You know, we saw this earlier in the heats that they were in for the Clash when they had the heats. All three of those cars were, they had a whole group that worked together. And they were able to control both lanes. And I think that that's what they're trying to do right now. The two guys on the outside trying to control the outside lane, and the inside lane trying to hang on to it, Sean Conklin. Remember, it is difficult to be able to do that, but when you got 3 or 4 cars, it becomes a lot easier. Every car on your team helps.
Yeah, and right now, those plays will continue on all night long. Almost 10 laps through, coming up to the end of lap plate this time. Right now.
Bad news. Brandon Hastings dropped out of the race, has some connection issues.
Here we go as they work their way on the outer groove. Top 3, yet again, trying to go. You mentioned the issues for Hastings. One of the drivers locked in, same for Delaney. Those two off circuit. So they will be at the back of the field come next Saturday. So right now as everyone tries to pace themselves here, you have to wonder some of the urgency for some of the drivers who pick up Devin Duels up 10 spots, 12 for Derek Heitman. A lot of the others single file or single digit pickups amongst those drivers so far.
You know, I'd be interested to see how this works up here because you got these two guys, both of them teammates, now controlling both lanes. If you're in that position, you might want to just try your best to keep your car side by side to avoid having anybody try to make any moves on you. But I tell you who's not going to let that happen. That's Alex Murray. He is pushing that 12 car with all his might, trying to get him out front. But that 12 car is just able to slow down and let that outside line catch back up, and they're still side by side.
Still trying to find a way to get ahead here. All of them will try and figure out the best strategy. Now, knowing what happened in the last race on pit strategy, do you see that replicated here, Kirk, with the early call, or do you try and wait later knowing what happened in the first window?
Like I always say, it can work, but I don't recommend it. I always say go as long as humanly possible. Don't be the last ones out, but when you see everybody else come down, that's when you go. Whoa, take a look at that. What a move. Right there, looks like that we had the 8 car of Tommy Gossett. He was one of the most aggressive drivers all season last year. Goes down and he'll take the lead in the inside lane. That puts 2 of the Gossett cars on the inside and leaving the one on the outside. That is Sean Conklin going backwards.
Yeah, immediately falling into the help of some of the teammates in Toyotas, but now Lucas Hoitzma gets the lead the outside for now. All of them trying to regain the composure with the outer groove. It's going to be like a conveyor belt all day, Kirk, you would say.
Yeah, it just seems like it's like choreographed, like they practice this. Because whenever that 58 car went to the outside line and he was alone, he lifted. He got off the gas so that way he dropped back further. He was leading the outside line and just chose to slow down. They are practicing this. I'm not sure for what reason yet, but they got 2 cars up to the front, Hodgson and Gossett, and then that car just dipped.
Yeah, now that result comes on through. These drivers sit outside just dying off for now a little bit.
Oh, here they come.
Yeah, just getting the momentum back now. Going to keep on seeing these swings back and forth like a pendulum swing, Kirk.
Yeah, I'm listening to the engines here at the front of this line, and I'm just keep hearing people lift. So I mean, they're all saving gas, of course, but I think that angle, man, that is one angle right there, to say the least. But I think the 58 car is in a position where he can control the outside line's momentum. If he really wants to, he can hold them back, he can push them forward. It just depends on what Zodiac wants to do. And then, of course, you got the 79, Dave Hoytsma. I'm sure he wants to get up there. He's almost side by side with his son right there. Remember, father-son combo. 97 of Lucas Hoytsma on the bottom. 79 is on the top. Take a look at that camera view if we can right here. You'll see it. Purple car. Side by side with his dad right there. That's kind of cool. Probably want to get a good picture of that, no doubt about it.
Yeah, gotta be good for the photo album, to say the very least. But obviously not working the same camp here. What's kind of that thought where they share sponsors, but obviously don't share the same what's under the hood sequence?
Well, it's mostly, you got to think about it. Age definitely plays a hand here. Holy cow, man, that 58, he just dove right back out in the outside line. But, you know, the younger you are, you know, you kind of get better offers. Kyle Busch is a great example of that. You know, he ran with Hendrick Motorsports when he was young. Then he went to Joe Gibbs, ran there forever. And then he got put to RCR, which hasn't really been at the same level as those other two as he got older. So it's kind of like a similar situation to that. Same thing with Kurt Busch, had a very similar story. But at the end of his career, he kind of ended up on top. So stuff like that just tends to happen. But now side by side for the lead, take a look. Nolan Hodgson on the top. And on the bottom there, they're just controlling this race.
Trying to control this race, absolutely. That's the Ryko way, and they're working that way up at the point. So as they continue to hang all up front, remember, these drivers with the Ryko powered machines burning a lot more fuel here too, Kirk. They're going to have to make sure they're in sync on that fuel number.
Whether or not they make it to the end of this thing is all up to them. Looks, oh, there goes Zodiac trying to clear it down through the grass. The 8 car goes. Gossett, sail. No, he doesn't. Huge crash. Multiple cars involved. The 88, Komacheski goes around. Tyler Hunter involved. More cars trying to spin and miss it. And it looks like just a handful of cars are involved. But that 8 car had it saved, but then turned right back up the racetrack from the apron. Huge crash, all caused by Zodiac at the front.
Caution flag is out on the speedway, and that will shake up some of the drivers with the cut. Right there, Zodiac gets glued. Yeah, 37 was squeezing, and then the lost grip on the edge of the apron.
No, looking at that, I gotta say, that was so dang close. I think that there was a car that had the most luck I've ever seen in my life here, but I'm going to triple check that because he might... did he miss it? Oh, no, he didn't. Looking at the 97. Hoytsma was close to getting, like, so dang close to involved in that. It was wild. Johnny Avila was involved in that. You also got Thomas Komacheski. Jose Medina was involved. Trying to get every single car we're on board with here right now. You can see Lucas Hoytsma. This is what I was talking about. Look how close he is to the wall here on the inside when he gets spun. He gets run over right here and misses that wall, but he's trying to come to a stop, and then the tire barrier here gets him a little bit of a shot. So Lucas might be out for a while, but he'll be able to keep racing. I gotta tell you right now, looking at some of the cars that are up here, just so many of them did a great job of just slowing down and trying to not get involved in that. Looking at the names of the cars that were involved here, you can see again that was Tommy Gossett, Michael S. Tucker was involved, the 69 of Thomas, the 88 of Thomas Komacheski, and then Eddie Rose was in that as well.
So a lot of damaged race cars going to have to deal with the consequences of that incident. And this is potentially going to become a fuel mileage race here too, because look at the time of the lap. You're coming up to 43 to go. The fuel run max is about 40, 41 here, Kirk. This is borderline. This is pushing it for most of the field.
It's worth coming down. Absolutely worth coming down, because if you get a caution, you're good. You know, so coming down now is the best choice. Now, if you don't get a caution, it's about who saved the most gas or whatever the situation may be. But remember, these guys have rules where they can't go through more than 3 pit stops into their pit lane and out of 3 of them as well. So because of that, I think it's important to remember that some guys might get penalties here. It's early in the season. That mistake is common with some folks.
Already seen it with Cody Porter. And Sean Conklin and Noah Hodgson are the first out here. A lot of the drivers taking no tires or 2 tires, depending on the preference here. And it becomes a fuel mileage race, as said, from this point. How aggressive do you get at saving now, knowing the situation? They're not even rolling past 90 on the apron right now.
Yeah, they're going to just try and save every ounce of gas you possibly can here. That's the only thing you can do right now. And it's absolutely doable if you really want to save it, but you got to be in the mindset of saving from the moment you leave pit road. Some folks aren't able to do that. Others are. So just keep an eye out. We'll see. They're going to probably shut off the cars, coast. They're going to do what they got to do to make sure that those cars keep as much gas in them as possible as we go through. And they might even roll the start here and try to shift a little earlier, try to use less throttle. Who knows what they're going to do to try and save some gas.
Lots of methods and a lot of ways to play with it here. Here's the correct cut line situation. Well, it was Tommy Gossett up at the front. That's obviously now changed with the caution period. We'll give it more run through at the top 10. Conklin and Hodgson. Then you also have up with the pit stop sequence. Jared Wishon is in the race tonight. He's up in the top 3. Zosiak, Hoytsma, Napier, Wood, Medeiros, Murray, Taylor. Wishon actually comes down this time with the fuel situation. And not a lot of people actually coming in the top off. Only 1 or 2, Kirk. That's surprising.
Well, that's up towards the front, but you got a lot of guys who were in the back that chose to come down. Like Gossett's one of them, Seven Carver, Kleiman, Lucas Hoytsman in the 97. These guys that were involved in the incident, coming down to get some damage repaired and to get topped off. I think that that's just something that has to happen. However, once they're back out there on the racetrack, fuel safe should be their number 1 priority, not trying to catch back up to the back of the field. You just got to coast right now.
And that's going to be the situation, obviously, with the pace lap. Hoytsma, I believe, actually was amongst those who topped off. Lucas Hoytsma, specifically. It's coming up to the restart. Coming up to lap 20, Kirk. This is going to get dramatic again for several of the drivers, but expect a lot of heavy fuel save where no one will want to lead.
Conklin's in the lead right now, and I still think that those guys are going to be controlling both lines, if there are 2 lines. I think a lot of folks would want to get single file and get to the bottom as quickly as possible. That outside line might not make it on gas if you're running the top. So I don't even care if you're the back of the pack. I'd just be saving every ounce I could. Those checkups are going to be a problem, though. You just kind of know it from watching the races in the past. Folks that once they get single file, that back of that line typically turns into an accordion. It'll stretch out and then come together, and then everybody has to hit the brakes. And hitting brakes is not good for saving fuel at all. So we'll see what they decide to do, 2 lane or 1 lane. But if you want to save the most, get to the bottom and get there quickly.
So here we come, coming to the restart. 41 laps to go. Conklin, Hodgson, Zosiak, Hoytsma. Top 4. Green flag is out. Back underway. And no one's really connected together here. Expected, the Ryko car moves in front of the Ryko car. And Zosiak now leads the inside.
I think the 53 is going to pull down. If he has a shot, he might. Yeah, he sure does. 58 car going down, I should say.
Yep.
Worked, put a little dirty air on the 37, caused him to back up, and now that outside line's getting him pushed.
Yep, all of them trying to gather themselves. And I'm hearing not a lot of full throttle here. I'm hearing a lot of throttle modulation, in particular from drivers like Napier. This pack is much slower than it was earlier on in the day. They're only going up to 190. They refuse to push the tempo, obviously.
And now it's all about saving gas. Changes the game. It might still be going pretty quick for some guys. Like I see almost 200 miles an hour in the middle of that pack. But up to the front, they're going to control the pace of this race. If they really want to make folks run out of gas, they sure can if they want to. But it looks like they want to make the outside line the preferred lane.
Yeah, and that seems to be... Look at this.
Dave
Hoytsma going to the inside. He wants to lead some laps. Dave Hoytsma, normally not up towards the front. He's been comfortable tonight. He's been doing well here in this one, trying to get himself in.
He had a shot there to lead a lap. Man, I really like watching Dave. If he's able to lead a lap here, I mean, that's just awesome. I hope he is able to win one of these races one of these days, but he's just one of the most likable people. Oh, look at that right there. 22 made a move with the 12 car to go by the 58. Dave's not going to let him in.
Yeah, didn't want to give him the space per se. And now, instead, those rifle cars shuffle to the back now as they continue to try and work on this situation. Still, though, as they go on, you see some of the EPI cars, mind you, are a part of the top groove also. The EPI cars getting boxed in with the outside dropping.
Some cars are going 3 wide in the back of this pack, man. I think that's maybe not the right choice to be doing right now. Tommy Gossett's trying to make the very top line work, getting pushed by, looks like Eddie Rose, trying to make 3 wide work in the back of the field.
Yeah, some of the drivers back there really pushing the tempo. Of note, you mentioned Eddie Rose, a part of that. Tommy Gossett is the other name that is trying to force the outside to work. And it's not working. We can tell you that. They just immediately tuck down. Never mind. Here comes another move to the outside. You see in the background, Avila and Hoytsma just moved up top shelf. Some of the drivers are trying to third line, feeling a little bit more comfortable. It's not working out. Cody Johnson just got an EOL penalty from the previous caution, by the way, for the pit stalls. He's one of the drivers to watch for here on the charge with the cut line. Cody Johnson hasn't been able to flash his speed that we are known to see him in a truck right now.
Just so many checkups on the bottom lane is really what's causing this outside line to get a push. You can see it right now, 3 cars stacked up there, and they are actually keeping ground. 2 cars in the center lane. That outside line is going to prevail. Derek Heitman, man, he had a heck of a year last year. Now, I think he's on the move. He wants to get to the front. Look at that. He's going to try to make it 3 wide here. Will the 7 let him go? I don't know. It's going to be close. He's squeezing him. He's going to get there.
Able to push ahead. There's the move again. Outside working now with Heitman wanting to lead it. And they are running. Everybody's pushing the tempo here with this, Kirk. After a couple laps of slow rolling, they are up near 200 miles an hour, pushing the speeds higher and higher.
Yeah, my goodness, look at this. It looks like the last lap of the race. Hang on to it, guys. Don't do anything stupid. That middle lane, that 16 car slowing the middle lane down. It's a sucker hole. They're going back, and now everyone in the third lane has become the new outside lane. Wow, what a move.
All of them trying to sort out where they can go here as you see some of the drivers elect to go back into the line. We have someone getting turned. It's Paul Hill. Paul Hill inside wall. No caution flag as Hill hits the barrier.
Yeah, and he also got into the commitment cone there, so I don't know if he has to go down pit road or not. But, yeah, rough spot for the 26 car. Everybody else still keeping it green. Nobody else involved, just light damage. He can keep that car going, and who knows, maybe that could be his pit road entry. That might be the best idea for him right now.
And so the rest of the pack will zip its way forward. Nolan Hodgson and Mutzels and the apologies with Murray as some of the drivers having miscommunications on how the pushes want to go up front. But as you've seen, those drivers who use the third line are now leading and are increasing the tempo. It's Derek Heitman. It's Johnny Avila. So Fortis gets up to the front, and Heitman, we know, had speed all of last season.
Yeah, but I gotta say, Heitman had a lot of finishes where he had a chance to win the race, but something would happen to where it took him out. He's fast, no doubt about it, but he's just got to be able to maintain and not make any mistakes and not get around anybody to cause him any harm here. He's getting a push from Matthew David Wood. He's driving the 16 car. He's new to the series this season. Matthew here, I got to tell you, he won a heat whenever it came to the Clash, and it was fun to see that 16 car win here and lead here, but now he's trying to make it into the big race. On the outside, working with a good guy in front of him and behind. Adam Benefiel behind him as well. So he's around good company right now.
Yeah, good company is hard to find some cases, absolutely. Cody Johnson, we were talking about him when he makes some splashes. Guess what? He's leading the outside groove. And he's got help from Matthew David Wood, one of the drivers from the Clash last week. So one of those slow cars making their way forward. A whole mishmash of teams trying to push Johnson, who's built a lot of respect for these drivers and officials.
Yeah, but this front group, man, Derek Heitman, Johnny Avila, Michael Tucker, amazing that they're able to lead this pack right now. I mean, they kind of took this away from Ryko for a moment here. So we'll see if that continues. Tommy Gossett here is kind of nowhere to be seen. There he goes. He's fourth place in line right now, and he's got a ways to get back up to the front. But look at these moves. They're going to the top.
Yep, trying to control the lines once again. Doesn't want the outside to get the run. They're already catching up to Paul Hill, by the way. Paul Hill is already staying to the bottom down the back straightaway. So traffic management is about to come into play here. You know who's also found their way up to the front? Tommy Gossett. Not bad at all, Kirk. After a spin, he's already up in the top 5.
Phenomenal recovery. Just got to say that. That's really something.
In terms of what he's been able to power his way back for. We're at halfway this upcoming time by. Michael S. Tucker is now the leader. Another different name, and one of the drivers that will be looking to try and start off the season right. That is one of the drivers trying to race their way in, remember. That is a Tier 2/3 car. So going to get in a Tier 3 specifically, so he needs to be up here, especially with Conklin up here.
Doing what he's got to do. You got to know that the only thing that you can do is try to win the race. But we're halfway through the duel now. So I'm expecting right now there shouldn't be any pit stops anytime soon. It's about seeing who can make it to the end. Some folks might cut it in half and might just do one stop in the middle. Some guys might try and save it all the way to the end. I don't think that we're going to see anyone make it all the way to the end and save it. It's just going to be way too difficult for that. I think that we might see a pit stop somewhere within the next 15, maybe 20 laps. Right before the end of this thing, but it just depends on what they decide to do.
And here we go. So they try and work on the high side yet again. Drivers are trying to make sure that communication levels are up there, knowing where the situation is. I believe they think there might have been some contact between the lines. To confirm there wasn't, Benefield just said. So a few of the drivers just trying to make sure they take care of each other. Oh, by the way, remember Dave Woods was just leading, Kirk? He's out of the draft. How did he lose the draft? He is 4 seconds back.
Yeah, he was running on the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, he blinked out. That was what happened. He lost connection, blinked out, and turned hard left to avoid getting into any accidents. That is respectful. Because once you blink out, some people just keep holding the gas and hoping that when they come back, they don't get in a wreck. Dave knew he was blinking out. He moved out of the racing line and took one for the team. I gotta say, Dave, man, so much respect for that guy. Such a tough break, too. I feel so bad for him right now.
Yeah, so he was one of the drivers looking okay. In. Not now. As a result of being punished by Jared Wishon, who runs a fair amount of super speedways, also had a blink as well just now. He is also one of the Tier 3 drivers looking to race their way in. It's interesting to see Wish on here because that is a name normally you would see in the FTF 500. Obviously not there today because that race is right now with 50 cars. And we today see him right at the back for now. By the way, waiting for the updates in the cut. Gossett, Johnson, Wood, Hoytsma, Von Henschel were the cut out the halfway point. Tucker and Conklin with the other two cars. You need to get a move on if you're, say, an Eddie Rose or a lot of these other names here. Soziak and Rose would be the first ones in the alternate spots if we were to freeze the field here.
Yeah, I think I want to keep an eye on one driver that I really hope actually makes the big race, the 16 car. After this offseason, the entire NASCAR community was heartbroken after hearing about what happened to Greg Biffle, and so seeing him run the 16 car in the same number font as Greg just really is something that I think needs to be in the FLCC 500, and I hope that they do. They're in a good spot right now, but, you know, you never know what could happen. Just keep praying, and we'll see what happens here, but that'd be pretty cool to see him make it in. I'm sure that'd be something he'd like to see as well.
Oh, dear, wall contact, by the way, for Raymond Root. Got a little bit squirrely. Now, as they try and settle it out, it's going to be Scher Jr., who now gets the assistance. Some of the PSS cars hooking up with Hill, the lap car up there. They want to get the third line going. And remember, this is your winner from the Clash 2 last week. Won in very up and down fashion with some of the troubles that popped up in that race. The 94 looking to make a splash by making the main race.
That third lane's developing again. You can see it. Yeah, with him leading that, I think that this might actually have a shot of going somewhere. They're getting a run right now, and it's going to be maybe 4 lanes of 3 wide. But the EPI car just came up and tried to put him up in the wall. He saved the car, and now they're still 3 wide. Now 4 cars in the center. But they want to move their way to the front. They saw what happened earlier, and they're trying to replicate it for sure.
So all of them now trying to build up the runs quickly. Avila still thinking. It almost looks like Avila wants to blend up the racetrack, but doesn't want to do it yet. I wouldn't be surprised if the 63 covers it off.
Man, I just got to say, these guys are doing a really great job. But you're absolutely right. So any one of these guys in the middle lane can come up and block the third lane right now and stop it. Wood's in the position to do that right now if he really wants to, but I'm not sure exactly what they choose to do. But they see that third lane, and they see it has momentum, they see it going forward.
Yeah, right now not in urgent need to go up quite yet, though, but it is an urgent need for those two on the high side to get a move on, to pick up spots coming to 23 laps to go here.
You know, I'm looking at a car right now in the middle of this whole mess. Tyler Hunter, he's kind of stuck. He can't go anywhere. No matter what he chooses to do, he cannot go anywhere. The bottom just opened up for him, so there's a hole for him if he wants it, but I don't think he'll take it. Little checkup in the middle lane. Huge checkup in the middle lane, actually. That's going to let the outside line gain even more momentum.
Yep, there we go. See those drivers getting really wild up there. And
Jedi backs out.
Yeah, that was not a surprise to see some of the drivers pulling out here. Jason S. Tower might actually lose the draft with him backing out, though. You just mentioned him. He is losing toe.
Yeah, I think that was a choice intentionally. He might think a caution's on the way. And I wouldn't be too far off if I said the same exact thing. These guys running 3 wide like this is phenomenal driving. I love seeing it. They're keeping it clean so far, and everybody's just riding in a little pack here. This is the most cool thing I've seen all week. That's so damn cool. Oh, look at this. That Tide car jumped up out of line. He's up to the third lane. Huge checkup coming to the outside line.
Yeah, they get slowed on up as a result here as these drivers wind up. Some of the drivers pulling up to 201 miles an hour, trying to pull up to the pack. Tucker now on the high groove. He had just been saying on the radio, hey, we're not passing right now. And now he's no longer up at the front, not even to the transfers, really, as a result of that move that pushes him back.
Yeah, that guy just murdered the outside line. Michael Tucker just decided that the outside line should stop existing, and so he went up there and erased it. Oh, but not for long. Guess what? That outside line's getting more momentum and more cars going back up to it. They're trying to rebuild it again from scratch.
All they are doing is just working on a treadmill, it feels like, going back and forth in terms of the lines here with this track. As some of the fans are saying, hey, Daytona. Don't you love Daytona? Didn't you know that we're racing at Daytona real life next week?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm excited. I'm bringing 10 family members. We're going to be watching the 500 in person. It's going to be a crazy thing. Oh, but look at that third lane. They're going to be even with the leaders here in just a second. There's going to be 3 wide for the look at this. 20 laps to go in the duels, and they are showing off. Wow.
Eddie Rhodes in a Conti setup is going to the front. He is not right now working with the Conti drivers, and now he is up to the front. The 46 now gets ditched by the PSS car, who moves to the middle. He ends up bringing Raymond Root. Sure, Jr. and Root work the middle, and now there goes the momentum of the top line as Hill tries to unlap himself. Under 20 to go, coming in 19, and different players now join the fray.
That was awesome. I mean, Eddie waited for that outside line to get to his back bumper. He pulled out of the middle lane and just drove straight to the front, just like that. There's still 3 wide back here. It's just that they have kind of lost the leader there that can push him all the way up to the front. Hill's really looking for somebody to go with, but that 88's not necessarily pushing him too hard quite yet.
It's not really pushing hard at all, is he? But the outside will reset for another day. But Sure Jr. will now put control to PSS. They have Murray pushing right now Raymond Root, so expect that line to be strong. Eddie Rhodes has the need to push to maintain. There's Dave Hoytsma, by the way. He'll lose a lap, and right now is in the lucky dog spot for the next few seconds. Paul Hill to try and race for him for the lucky dog if we do get a caution here.
Hate to see it, but hopefully Dave can tag back into the back of this line. Oh, Lucas is checking up on the inside as well. I think he was going to try and go get his dad, but doesn't look like that quite happened there.
Just heard something going on with Lucas Hoytsma. He just started apologizing. I think Hoytsma just somehow survived without seeing anybody on the racetrack here, Kirk. I think a screen failed for the 97. He drove down, let cars go, and is still in the draft, but just lost a few spots in a dangerous situation.
At the same time, Dave actually dropped out due to the packet loss, so Dave was out too. I mean, that's really disappointing to see. But now, it is amazing he was able to keep the car without wrecking that 97. If he had no screen, I mean, it's almost always I turn hard left and hold the brake and hope for the best, but no, he kept going.
Now they'll regroup for some of the drivers here. Coming to 16 to go. Speaking of regroup, Fucker's trying to get the outside going again. It's Conklin. Sean Conklin looking to go bonk and find his way up to the point here. Getting squeezed by the 34, though. The EPI car didn't want the outside to go.
Wow. Man, it's just inches off each other here. And they're squeezing. They're being respectful, though, about it. Oh, maybe not. Look out. What a save. The 46 of Eddie Rose almost lost it. They're 4 wide down the back straightaway. He's able to hang on to it. Almost got spun out. Yeah, we'll look at that a little later. But for now, they are still 3 wide. We cannot go away from this right now. This is just way too good.
And one of the things was seen in a video today about the Daytona 500 is eventually the energy builds and builds and builds until by the time you get to the snapping point, someone wrecks. And the trend has been, Kirk, in real life, into the tri-oval, into turn 3. Does that happen here with the field getting really racy and drivers swap drafting and changing lines like this?
Yeah, there was a YouTube video posted about that maybe like 2 or 3 days ago talking about it. I saw it in the recommend. It's very, very, I think that's what you're talking about, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, we both saw the same video. Yeah, crazy stuff. But no, it was good. Yeah, good guy, good upload. Explained it really well. Pretty straightforward too. And now that that's kind of obvious that it's always at entering into a corner, that's when you should start getting a little nervous. But it can also happen on the exit of the corner, so be ready for that if that happens too. Man, remember, we got 14 laps to go to decide who is going to make it into the FLCC 500. Every one of these guys just would love to be able to make it to the finish without an accident, but some of these guys just want to finish in the top 7. They're begging, please let me get to the top 7, whatever it takes. Now that outside line's trying to get a little push, a little check up in the back of the field. Crash. Oh, not quite yet. Another car pulls up to the top. 58, Sean Conklin again trying to make a top line work.
And Conklin needs to make the ground. He is out of the show as we run. Now here comes the Ladybug and Zodiac leading the inside middle line. Wishon is right now one of the final cars in with Michael Tucker. There goes to the bottom, Wood and Tucker. Tucker stays, I'm going to stay tucked in here with the temperatures. By the way, Root, Johnson, Schur Jr., along with Wood, Von Henschel are the other drivers projected in if we continue on here today. Coming up to 12 laps to go. And now here comes the run. Here comes a chance this time for one of the newer teams, Elite Motorsports, the 027, looking to get to the point. And they blink, and they get hard for it. There goes Wishon. There goes the pack. Technical issues cause chaos, and we're under caution.
Multiple cars through the grass. 3 cars got heavy damage. Eddie Rose is involved, and the 7 car also heavy front end damage. Oh man, that's Rich Kleinman involved. Eddie Rose. You look in here at more cars getting involved. I think Nolan Hodgson also got a oh no, he didn't. He missed that, so that was lucky for him. But that blinking out really made a big deal because the 27 of Jared Wishon just got turned. We haven't talked about him at all yet today.
All it takes is one blank and it just destroys him. And you're right about one thing, that was out of a corner, out of turn 4 in this case. And that's a bad spot to have a push out of line, and that blink right here just made it difficult to line up.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of a blown tire. You know, we were just referencing a video about exiting turn 4, entering the corners of where the crash happens. It's by a video by the guy by the name of Maple Boy. Look it up on YouTube after this race. Take a look at it. It's actually really informative, and all of us got the same reference. So, I mean, it's worth a watch. It's actually pretty good, and I'd never heard of him before until today, but it was one of those good recommendations for folks to watch. But now we got 12 laps to go. Folks are going to come down and probably get gas if they need it. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen or not, but take a look who's leading the race. Matthew David Wood in the 16 car is leading in this duel.
How about that? Up in front of Tucker, Johnson, Zodiac, Avila. A lot of upset drivers here in the opportunities. Heitman elects to get repairs done. Meatball for Wishon. Root also with the meatball, and that is going to be a tough break. He was one of the drivers that have now blown a motor. That's a rarity, it feels like these days with his car, but smoke coming out of the 51.
Yeah, with that, I mean, I think that might put him in a really bad position. Because Raymond, I think he was a Tier 2 driver, so I think that might actually take him out of the running for the FLCC 500. That's a heartbreaker.
It would, as a result of that situation. And now, urgency picks up again. As we go here at the moment, Wood would actually be one of the drivers from the open cars to race their way in. You also have Johnson, Zodiac, Gossett, Schur Jr., Tucker, Von Henschel that are amongst the racers looking to get in. Conklin not making it in after getting wins in ERA competition and being one of the top talents when it comes to the Rankin Camp would be an absolute upset if he doesn't make it on in. That's not hyperbole. He's a driver that usually wins these big races, and he is out of the show, needing to find a run.
Now, if that happens, you're talking about Sean Conklin in the 58, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, the thing is, he's aggressive. He's able to make it work. And he was able to push that outside line all the way up to the front. I think he can do it again. Now, looking around him, I'm not seeing the nearest teammate he has is in 7th. That's going to be a few rows ahead of him. I don't know if that's going to help him or hurt him, but you're looking around, and I'm just seeing less and less help for him. He's going to need to be have some good friends in the field to help him out. But the drivers I'm really surprised by in that last one was we got that huge wreck that all spun off from a driver that I haven't actually seen all speed weeks, all season. Jared Wisham. Never heard of the character before, but just a one blink from one character, and that might be the end of a race for multiple cars. And he's currently sitting on pit road. And man, I wish that we got to learn a little bit more about him, but definitely not the way you want to, do a debut here.
Definitely isn't with an incident, but here's how things are going with coming up to 9 laps to go to decide this race. Under 10 laps to go. Wood and Tucker, Johnson and Zosiak, Avila and Murray, Gossett and Schur Jr., Conklin, Von Henschel are a part of your top 10 as we get ready for this restart. And this is going to get wild because you have some of the drivers like Medina and some of the drivers like Napier in the back. A couple of those competitors will be looking to Getty up and ride to join on in on the fun to make the FLCC 500 next Saturday.
A lot of guys put a lot of hours, a lot of hard work into building the setups that they have under their seats right now. And all that work is going to come down to just 9 laps. Whose car is going to be able to make it? Who's going to be able to make the race? And who's going to be going home? Going to watch it from their home on their couch. We're going to find out here in just 9 laps.
You better buckle up on that couch. If you don't have a seatbelt in your couch, buy one. After all, there are places that do that. But right now, the focus is simple. Battle to the end. Try and win this race, or better yet, for some, lock your way into a 200 lapper for the start of a new season. It's Matthew David Wood. It's led alongside Michael Tucker. Green flag is out, 9 to go. And the inside gets a little better start this time. Johnson with the roll-up. Now tries to get to the bumper of the 16. Outside trying to work its way through the gears here as they rumble into one.
No doubt he's just watching his mirror, trying to watch where all these cars are going to choose to go. Cody Johnson sitting there in second. He's going to stay on the back bumper of Wood in that 16 car, pushing him as hard as he can. Take a look back behind him. Von Henschel, I believe, makes a move up to the top lane, side by side with Gossett right now. He's going to lead the outside line going into turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, trying to walk himself into the show here. A little bit of an offset push, just able to hold on to it. 8 to go this time through. Outside is just not getting the speed built. Nearly got turned by Taylor.
That outside line is just dissolved. They are not anywhere to be seen. But not for long. I guess that we're going to start seeing some cars trying to make their way up to the top. There's going to be some momentum coming. Be ready for it. It's going to happen any second now. Here it comes.
Here comes the cut from Gossett. We know he likes to lead. This is his chance to lead. Coming through to 7 to go this upcoming time by. Right now, Medeiros, he tries to continue to the shoves, trying to get his LRP machine forward. Looks like he's pretty stable on those pushes, but for how long? Remember, Gossett's got front nose damage from the first caution he was in.
Oh, there they go. Kolmacheski gets turned around. Zosiak's involved. They are still, no, caution is out.
Caution is out. Lucas Hoitzman with a pit penalty. Kolmacheski having problems. Medina with the flurry of sparks. And This will set up another late race restart situation. Let's take a look.
Zodiac involved in yet another crash here today, unfortunately. And the 88, an unfortunate bystander yet again. We saw the 88 get up into the outside wall after contact earlier in the run. One of the first wrecks of the day. And I think the 37 was actually involved in that one as well. But yeah, just contact. And I think the 37 was just a little higher in the lane than he probably should have been. The outside line was still straddling the white line, which is technically the right spot to be. But man, it's just an unfortunate series of events there.
So a big pile up in the middle of the pack. Yes, indeed. That is a caution Zodiac's been involved in tonight, by the way, for those keeping track. As they go, the field will get reset. Here's a look once again from the top side. It's so difficult to hold a line in this case, and in this case, he was bobbling back and forth with the tri-oval.
Luckily, I don't think any of these guys had too horribly bad damaged cars, but Paul Hill, wow, slam on the brakes, wait for him to get to a point where he's predictable and then go on by. That was actually expert by Paul trying to get out of the way.
So the field is under the caution flag, coming to 5 laps to go. And now what do you see to be the play here? Because we know the drama for the cut line. Some of those updates coming through is Wood, Johnson, Gossett, Von Henschel, Sherwood Jr., Tucker, Conklin now in, with Rose being the first one projected, one of the first ones projected out here, if looking correctly, as an alternative or alternate. So this is, again, going to be tough for some of those drivers that have to get going and pick up spots in fast. You're talking Eddie Rose, for reference, would be all the way in 18th for the restart.
Eddie Rose also got involved in that crash just a handful of laps ago, and now it looks like that when they hit the pace, the start-finish line, will the lights go out? Will we go green? No, not quite yet. We are going another lap under caution. Some cars in the back of the field choose to head down pit road, but that means that most likely we're going to get a 3-lap dash to finish this thing out if we get one to go next time.
Here we go. Coming up here next time by, as that was the lucky dog actually going around. Lucky call for Paul Hill. Paul Hill looking for track position to start off on Saturday next week in the Bigfoot Chassis Collective machine. Feels like we haven't really talked about Bigfoot outside of Galata tonight, but Hill looks to make a splash now. And talking about some of these other teams here, we talked about some of the organizations. Stealth Racing with opportunities here with Tucker to be able to make the show would be a big opportunity. Kleinman currently out. Zodiac, the hour driver involved with the caution flags. Interesting team dynamic with 3 different drivers for Stealth and 3 different situations here for the final restart.
I think that drivers like the 16, drivers like the 08, these guys probably are shaking in their boots. They know that this is a big, big event. And we know for a fact Matthew Wood is a rookie in this. He's got the rookie stripes. But looking as you go through this field, you're going to see several of them. But very few of them are up towards the front. Cody Johnson is kind of newish to me. I hadn't heard the name until the last week. So the fact that he's up here is pretty dang cool. If Matthew and Cody are able to control this and able to take this and possibly get a win out of this, I think that would just be something that would be really special to see. But you got experienced guys, Johnny Avila, for example, Tommy Gossett right on their tail, 2 in the Toyotas. These guys are going to do whatever it takes to get on by them. As the pace car's lights go out, we are double file. We're going to get a 3-lap shootout to decide who's going to make the FLCC 500 and who will not.
Coming up to the restart, Wood, Johnson, Avila, and Gossett are your top 4, followed by Taylor, Medeiros, Hodgson, Von Henschel, Murray, and Tucker are in your top 10 positions. coming into the restart. And so, let me ask you this question to put you on the spot. Who do you think actually gets the win here, Kirk?
Well, that's a good question. You know, there's a hope and then there's a belief. For me, I hope that 16's able to hang on. Man, that car, he's fast, he's good. And I just like seeing the 16 after what happened this offseason. It'd make my heart sore if he's able to win this thing. But you got guys that are just so dang good. You look at Tommy Gossett. He's one of the most aggressive drivers out there. He's in a position to win the race. Jedi Taylor, even though he hasn't really had a great year last year, he's in 5th. He has a chance to win this thing too. Cody Johnson, Johnny Avila, everybody in the top 5 have a good shot. But I'll throw out an underdog. I say only because he hadn't really been up front all day. Adam Benefiel, sitting 14th right now. I'd like to see where he ends up at the end of this thing.
Yes, indeed. Coming to 3 to go. Here we go. Wood trying to control things up front. Johnson trying to race his way in as well. Avila, one of the top open cars. In fact, the second best from the qualifications out of those trying to qualify their way in. I'll be looking to try and get a good restart also. Green flag is out, 3 to go. 2 teammates are lined up on the inside here. Right now, they didn't get as coordinated as thought. Here they go as Johnson tries to build the run high side.
Huge checkup on the outside, but exactly what you said. They're trying to build a run. Trying to build something. Huge slingshot opportunity. We'll see what happens. That inside line, though, is hanging on to it. The outside line is just not going anywhere. They're checking up in the back of the field so much so that they're going to try and make a third line. And now you see Nolan Hodgson trying to make him bounce up to the outside line. Where did he come from? He came out of nowhere, but now he's going to be shot out of a cannon when he comes out of turn 4. We're coming to get 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe. It is Matthew David Wood, Johnny Avila, and Jedi Taylor, your top 3 for now.
Here we go, coming to 2 laps to go. The run building up from your outside pole sitter, Jason S. Taylor. The Black Flag Motorsports machine rebuilt the troops for the organization. After so many years being around as from one of the teams in the 2010s, Taylor looks to try and get himself one of his first big wins, if not first big run in FLCC. Hodgson, though, is on his bumper. Will they get clear? Wood is getting good pushes. Contact, Taylor nearly turned himself.
Wow, that's amazing. Jedi's able to hang on to it, but look right here. Nolan Hodgson, he's letting off the gas. He's trying to cause an accordion effect on the outside line. See what happens. Oh, here comes Wood. He made a move down to the inside. He passed Taylor, coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go from Daytona.
Hodgson leaves him out to dry. 3 wide into turn 1. Hodgson brings Johnson, brings Medeiros with him. Back through the field. Goes to 4 wide. Jason as Taylor nearly gets turned. Everyone survives as they come down the back straightaway.
Oh, come on. Let's see it. Come on, Wood. Let's see it. He's going to get a big push here, though. Look out. More cars coming. There's wrecking behind. Not going to matter. Up front, they are 4 cars leading this thing up front. The 16th car through turns 3 and 4. Nobody's got a run yet. What are they going to do? Out of the final corner for duel number 2. Who's going to make the move? Will it be Avila? No, he will not. Coming to the line. It will be close, but Matthew David Wood gets it done in the 16 cars. They wreck across the line.
Matthew David Wood gets the job done in duel number 2 of the Haterade 150s and does so in close fashion. 35 1,000ths of a second. Shorer Jr. gets himself in with a top 3 also as they crash for 4th.
Wow, what a finish, man. That's 16. Wow, man, I got a tear in my eye. That was something.
And waiting for things to get calculated by the officiating crews here. As you see, they piled up well after the start and finish line. Matthew David Wood, one of the drivers in, but Tommy Gossett, well, they are 4 wide, and you never want to go 4 wide here, really.
Oh no, yeah, he got turned. He just got squeezed. Not his fault, but he kept the car. You got to keep the car going. He knew that there was going to be a big one going out of 4, and that's what we saw. Another big wreck coming out of a corner that time, which is contradictory to the video we watched. But man, look at that. The 16 car, he won his heat in the clash, and then he wins one of the duels. He's going to be a driver I want to keep an eye on all season long. Take a look at that guy doing a burnout on the front stretch just like he deserves to. Be like Biff. That's awesome, man.
Gets it done, and guess what? He's in the FLCC 500 unofficially. He, Shura Jr., Henschel, along with Rich Kleinman, made it in the top 4. Zosiak also in. Conklin and Tucker are your other drivers unofficially in from the open cards, Kirk.
Man, this was some of the best dual racings I've ever seen. So many guys made it in. But obviously, there's the other end of the stick where some guys who have been working all off season aren't able to make it into the big race. And, you know, they got to understand they did the best they could. And it was a wild race. You got a lot of high-end competitors here. And some drivers that you'd expect us to make it most certainly did not. And you're looking through this field, and it just makes you shake your head. It's so surprising what you see as we look through our finishers here. I just can't believe what I just saw.
Yes, indeed. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results. Matthew David Wood, Johnny Avila, Eddie Shura Jr. in the top 3. Conklin and Hoytsma the top 5. Wood Tucker having a stellar drive to 6. Von Henschel, Napier, that was a very big effort for him. Give him credit. But because he was a Tier 3 car, he's not one of the drivers in the show. He ends up being out as the 3rd alternate. Instead, it's climbing behind with Murray, your top 10.
Finishing in 11th tonight will be Kevin Zosiak. Got in a lot of incidents tonight. Probably needs to go back to the drawing board. Derek Heitman gets 12th. Paul Hill rebounds somehow. He was laps down. He got wrecked early on, but he came back to get a top 15. Well done from Paul Hill. Nolan Hodgson had speed early, but will have to settle for a top 15. Then, of course, Tyler Hunter. And Cody Johnson finishing in 16th. 17th will be Devin Medeiros. Eddie Rose will be in 18th. 19th, Adam Benefield. And Jedi Taylor will get 20th.
21st goes the way today of Tommy Gossett. A big, tough break for the Ryko machine. And led laps, but in the end, gets shuffled. Then it's Komacheski, followed by Medina and Wishon. Also out of the show, Raymond Root, Dave Hoytsma, tech issues, out of the race as well. Hastings and Delaney, they started the race. They'll start at the tail for next week. So top to bottom of the race results here for duel number 2. Bottom results waiting to be officialized here, Kirk, with reviews. But outside of that, your final thoughts after the Haterade 150s.
Well, I gotta tell you, I think we got the winner of the race here in the second duel. Available if we want to hear from him. I think we got to hear from this guy. I'd love to talk to him if that's okay. Can we bring him in?
Yeah,
I just got to hear from him.
We did get the one here. Absolutely. Why not? Because I think this driver is really interested to represent the Team Slow to show their fast today.
Matthew David Wood, congrats, man. You won yourself a duel. You're going to be starting in the FLCC 500. How's it feel to win in that 16 car, man?
Oh, my word. Words don't describe how amazing this feels. You know, driving the 16 is a huge honor for me. Again, I'm 17. I grew up with Greg, and my 3 favorite drivers were Junior, Larson, and Greg. And it's been a rough off season, man. And Johnny was giving me such a good push there from the restart all the way to the line, and words can't describe it, man.
Man, I'm so happy for you, Matthew. I mean, and he's a teammate of yours, right? Johnny Avila?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to say, man, you got yourself one hell of a teammate to keep pushing you out of turn 4. Did you think he was going to make a move on you?
I did not know, but we were going to get 1-2 either way, and that was going to be fine enough for me whether I wanted or not.
Well, at the end of the day, man, you're in the FLCC 500. What do you got to say to the rest of the competitors you're going to be racing against in the big race next week?
Well, I'm hoping we can all have fun together, and I'm having a lot of fun so far, but man, what a job we did for Outlier getting 1-2. man, just thank the Lord for this opportunity and for him sending Jesus down for all of us. And hopefully we can get some incredible finishes in the Daytona 500 for us, for everybody, for Greg. But man, what an incredible race.
Well, thanks again so much for talking to us, man. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go? And
Just everybody that's out there supporting me, my fellow West Virginians that are in the field. I don't know if I have any, but if you all are out there, thank you all for doing such a great job as always. But yeah, just go on to the 500, and if we could do that again, that'd be amazing.
all right, Matthew, thanks so much for talking with us, and best of luck next week.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Justin.
So nicely done, as we do get the chance to speak with the winner here today, at least in Duel 2. Some of the drivers from Duel 1 have sprinted away, trying to loop around that direction, but now your final thoughts as we look high above Daytona. This track is going to be very much packed with all these drivers, going to have those parking lots full, and those virtual fans going to pack those seats next week.
Yeah, and a lot of guys watching from home, to say the least. Man, this was one of the best dual combos I have ever seen. Normally you get one chaotic one and then one really clean one, but this time the finish of the first one was really, really wild, but the first part of the race was all strategy based. You didn't really see that at all in the second half. They were racing 3 wide with 30 to go in the second one. I mean, the second duel, I didn't think it was possible to improve on the first duel, but they did. It was a phenomenal finish, and I couldn't think of a more deserving winner of that second duel, and it was beautiful. It was so dang cool to watch, and at the end of the day, this just gets me so disappointed that I won't be here for the FLCC 500. I'll be at the real Daytona 500. I'm disappointed I won't be able to see who's going to get it done, but I wish you all the best of luck, and we'll be back as soon as we go to race number 2 on the schedule, but man, it's going to be fun to watch back no matter what, Justin.
Indeed, and on that note, it's just about time to say goodbye for tonight's action here on Maconi Entertainment. And happy with us here tonight. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in for tonight's coverage, as well as our producer Howie Burrows and my commentator Kirk Mills. Again, I've been Justin Prince for tonight's action. We hope to follow our social media pages to keep up with the action here on Maconi Entertainment. But on that note, we'll see you next time when we go racing for the FLCC 500. You've been watching tonight's action on Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you from Daytona next Saturday.